If you have between 15 and 49 years old, the number one cause of death in this planet is something that has to do with alcohol. Not alcoholism, but it could be, accidents or a lot of things. If we tell the people how to drink or how to make decisions, maybe the people that it's killed because a car hit them is going to go low. A lot of people think that I don't drink. I do. I drink, and if I want to get drunk, sometimes I do. But I do it in a controlled ambience. I don't drive. I know what I'm doing, and I'm very conscious of what I'm doing. When people say drink responsibly, I'm like, yeah, well, that's such a very nice phrase, but if you don't know anything about alcohol, how can you be responsible about something you don't know? Shit. Don't make one party day to become the worst day of your life. Okay? Because a party day doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. For me, transformation in my life.
Right. So, Rudy, thanks for coming on my podcast. Thanks for coming on the transformation journey. And well, I am very excited for today's conversation. We will be talking about partying, about alcohol, about drugs, about many things, and how to be intelligent with those. And so I am excited to inform people about this important subject. And yeah, so before getting into actual lessons and ideas of drinking and how to take care and all of those things, I would like you to give an introduction to yourself, to tell us a bit about who you are. But I think that a cool introduction would be if you could share the story of how you went from being the manager of a nightclub to giving the conference that you are currently giving. Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm very happy to share this with you and all the people that is listening. I used to be manager of a nightclub here in Acapulco named Baby O. I worked there for around, 12, 13 years, more or less. I've been working in nightclubs for 22 years. It's been over more than 4,000 parties that I've been at. So I've seen everything,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People can't tell me what happens there because I've been there. And one day, I had a friend that he was very worried that his young son and daughter were starting to go to parties. They were like 12, 13, more or less. Mm-hmm. And he was very, very concerned because he wanted to give them some tips and some advices about going out, but they didn't listen to him. Mm-hmm. Sometimes young people, they don't like when their parents give them advices, especially on a party,
Yeah.
So he says, why don't you talk with them about party? Because you've been there for a long time. They know you, and you're like a leader for them in this party thing. So why don't you tell them how to take care of themselves? Because what I really want for them is to go out, have a good time, enjoy themselves because they're young and it's a great age to do that. Mm-hmm. But I want them to be safe. And it's very, very scary out there right now. So that's how I start my journey. I start to make a lot of investigations about what happens to your body and to your brain with alcohol, your behavior and everything. And it was very revealing to find out that most of the people on this planet, and I'm talking about, I'm not sure, but I can tell you more than 90% of the people in this planet don't know anything about alcohol. Mm-hmm. But they don't know. I know it sounds crazy and it sounds weird, but the problem with alcohol is that people have been drinking for so long that everybody thinks they're like professionals, no?
Yeah, experts. Uh-huh.
Experts. And then when you start to ask them about some particular things, they don't know. So that's the problem with alcohol, that people start to they don't know how to make a decision because they don't have information. And that's how I started this journey about La Fiesta del Siglo.
Yeah, and La Fiesta del Siglo is your conference. And how did you start to expand, like to go from just giving advice to the children of your friend to then giving this, creating this massive event, which you give in schools or to organizations or to people in general? How did that change happen?
Well, once that I find out all of this about alcohol, and I saw how many people die every year because of this. Because I don't know if you know, but the deaths because of alcohol are number one in the world. If you have between 15 and 49 years old, the number one cause of death in this planet is something that has to do with alcohol. Not alcoholism, but it could be, accidents or a lot of things. And when I saw these numbers and I see the information that I have now, I felt a very big responsibility of sharing this with people and spreading this message all over the world. And I felt a little bit like Spider-Man, really, because I mean, it was like finding a big diamond, and it was in my hands, and it was my
Mhm,
responsibility to tell everybody, this, because I could save
mhm.
a lot of lives. And I felt like Spider-Man because I remember that they say that great power comes with great
Great
responsibility.
responsibility. Yeah.
So I made this like my something that I want to do for my life, and I started to give this conference to some schools and universities, and the message was so powerful that everybody was like, "Wow, I can't believe I've been blind for so long." So
Mhm.
it started to develop very fast. I mean, uh, nowadays I've given my conference over more than 1,000 times to more than 1 million people, not only in Mexico, Spain, Argentina,
Yeah.
United States, and it grew very fast. And the other thing is not only the information; it's how I give it. Because I say, okay, I'm going to talk to young people, no, and if you
Mhm.
don't do something funny, they're going to get bored very fast.
Yeah.
So the marketing that I use is, I said, well, what about if I'm going to talk about party? Why don't do I do this in a party?
Mhm.
So I I go to the school, and I have a DJ, and I have a laser beams, and I have smoke, and I have everything, and it's like a party. It's like a nightclub, and then I give the conference in that ambience. So it's very funny. It's a show.
Yeah, I remember when I saw your conference, even though it was through a Zoom meeting, your background had like you're in the logo of La Fiesta del Siglo, and also like the lighting that you had was sort of, yeah, it had like it remembered people about like a party, and it had like that context. And I think that is very important, because something that I have learned, especially with these interviews, is that it is important how do you share a message. So the message itself is important, but if you don't make people want to hear that message, then they won't listen. And this is a very important topic. And about what you said, about like when people think they are experts, in this case with partying and alcohol and all those things, but then they realize that they didn't know many things. I think that happens with many subjects. Here in my podcast, I mostly talk about like self-improvement, business, spirituality, finance, whatever. And in those things, there are many breakthroughs that I have and that I hope my audience has too. But this is also a very important subject for like safety and for enjoyment and for health and for many things. And I would like to start like getting into the actual subject of drinking and alcohol. Like, could you give us an overview of what happens when like you take the first sip of beer or alcohol, and then how it gets through your body and how does it affect you?
How do we get drunk? Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, first of all, let me start by saying that most of the times the subject of alcohol has been approached from my point of view, has been approached from the wrong side, because every single time someone talks about alcohol, they do it from the point of view of alcoholism. I don't know
Hmm.
what, but every time that somebody tells you, "Hey, it's going to be a talk or a conference about alcohol," you go like, "No, please." They're going to tell me it's a drug, that I'm going to
Yeah.
die, that I shouldn't do it, that I have to be very careful. They say that to you many times through your life. So everybody, I mean, most of the people, they don't want to go to those kind of talks, to those
Hmm.
kinds of conferences. So that was the first thing that was difficult for me to make the people forget about alcoholism and focus On the other part of which is the people that just drink every weekend, but they're not alcoholic.
Hmm.
So how does it works? When you drink, the molecule called ethanol goes to your stomach, and from there to your bloodstream. It goes into your bloodstream and goes to your brain. Once it touches your brain releases a hormone, or it's a neurotransmitter named dopamine.
Hmm.
Dopamine makes you happy. That's what everybody likes about alcohol. You start to drink, and then when you have your second drink, you're like, "Oh man, I'm feeling great. I don't feel pressured anymore. I'm feeling happy." That's the dopamine being released in your brain because of the alcohol. Now the problem is that if you start to drink more alcohol than the one that your body can get rid of,
Hmm.
it starts to accumulate on your bloodstream and on your brain. The human body can get rid of more or less around one standard drink per hour. A standard drink is 17 millimeters, which is what has one beer. Okay,
Hmm.
so just to make it easier, let's say that a human being can eliminate one beer per hour,
Yeah.
average. Okay,
Hmm.
so if you start to drink more faster than that, the alcohol accumulates in your bloodstream, and then you start to release a lot of dopamine, and that's what gets us crazy, and we start to do stupid things, and that's the reason why we forget things, and we start to see everybody, beautiful. It's like yeah, they say that alcohol is like a makeup, makes everybody
Yeah.
pretty and stuff, and that's the reason. That's how this molecule works with your brain.
And then, like, you talk about how dopamine makes you feel good, but then there are also people that when they are drunk, they are either too happy or they start to feel depressed or like very sad, and other people who get mad and start to, cause conflict. Why does that happen? Does certain hormones release in different people, or does it depend on the physical state of the person before he or she drank?
Well, it has to do with how you feel in the moment you're drinking. That's what I say. I tell to the people: if you're going to drink, you have to make sure you're okay, because
Hmm.
alcohol goes into some part of your brain where the emotions are, and it makes them explode. So if you're happy, you're having a good time, you're celebrating your birthday or something, you're just going to be extra happy. Maybe you're going to be, dancing on the chair or whatever. But if you're mad because you had a problem with your girlfriend, with your family, with your father, with someone, and you start to drink, you're gonna get very, very, very mad. Here in Mexico, we say mala copa. Someone that
Malacopa.
you just want to fight with everyone. It's
Hmm.
it's such a bad mood that it's scary.
Hmm.
Or if you have I don't know, if you broke with your girlfriend, or you're very sad for some reason, you're gonna start to cry the whole night. You're gonna say, "Oh, I don't understand women." Da, 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 So
Hmm.
that's one of the reasons. What I tell the people is very important, that if you're gonna drink alcohol, you feel okay, you feel good. Don't drink to forget something
Hmm.
that's happening in your life that is bad right now, because that's how the people um starts to get dependent of the drug, of the alcohol, or any drug, because you link it to a negative emotion, because
Hmm.
dopamine makes you feel good, and for a moment maybe you feel good, no, but after that you're going to start to feel very bad, and maybe depressed the next day, or maybe you
Hmm.
can do something very stupid that's going to get you into more trouble.
Yeah. Recently, I've been talking with two friends about like the subject of happiness and pleasure, and here, like the two main points of view are that like many times we do things that satisfy us, just in a moment to forget what the pain that we're experiencing, and I think that's sort of the point here. Also with alcohol, and on the other hand we have like sustained happiness, which is like when we do things that makes us happy, and we maybe have some pleasures, but those pleasures just add to this. um, with alcohol, and yeah, mostly alcohol, how can someone like in a social group manage to maybe like drink when he feels like drinking and not drinking just because of social pressure? I don't know if you get my point here.
Yeah, well, it's very tough, especially with young people.
Hmm.
The social pressure exists all the time in business, okay, in weddings. And most of the time, when people want to drink, they try to force the other people on the table to drink. And you have to be very brave in order to say, no, I don't want to drink. Also, I have some hacks
Hmm.
that I put in my TikTok account of what to do when people are pressing you or pressuring you. I don't know how to say it, and you don't want to drink, but you don't want to fight.
Hmm.
Okay. So what I do is I say, okay, you have like a shot of tequila in one hand and a dark soda on the other hand, like a Coca Cola, and then you drink. You make like you're drinking the tequila, and when you see you take the Coca Cola, you put it back in the Coke, and
Hmm.
nobody knows, and you just should go like, oh wow, this was so strong, it's gonna blow my mind. But what I tell the people is always try to say no, because you have to make sure you do what you want to do, so you don't get in trouble. And but this is in an age of experimentation, and they're going to parties to try to find out who they are,
Hmm.
try to belong to certain groups. So that's the reason why they start to behave like most of the people there. Sometimes they don't even like it, but they do it because everybody's doing it. No,
Hmm.
so it's tough to say no and hang in there. You have to be very strong and have a lot of personality. And speaking about a little bit of alcohol with your last question before this one, what kills people in this planet is not alcohol, is the abuse of alcohol. And
Hmm.
what kills is something called binge drink. And binge drinking is when men have five or more drinks in 2 hours or less, or women have four drinks or more in 2 hours or less. That's what is called binge drinking, and that's exactly what kills a lot of people. Because if you drink like one, two beers every week,
Hmm.
you can do it for the rest of your life. You're not even gonna have brain damage. You're gonna be
Hmm.
okay. But the abuse of alcohol is the subject here. That's a problem.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to ask you about that, and please confirm or deny what I am about to say. But when you talk about how like drinking is one of the main causes of death in the world, I was also thinking like, does this cause of death involve like what you do when you're drunk? And an example would be like you're drunk and then you get into the car and drive. Would that be and drive and crash? Would that be considered like dying because of alcohol or just because of crashing?
No, no, no. It's because of if you crash and you're if you die in a car accident, even if you're not driving, but you were in the car with someone who was driving with alcohol, your death is among the deaths caused by alcohol.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you go with a a cousin, and your cousin is driving and he's drunk, but you're not, and you both die. Your death is considered among the ones that are. It's like if a friend of yours hit another person and kills the other person.
Yeah.
That person died because of alcohol.
Hmm.
And it's not
Interesting.
only the people that drinks; it's everything that surround alcohol. So that means that if we tell the people how to drink, or how to make decisions, maybe the people that it's killed because a car hit them is going to go low. You
Hmm.
know, you know what I mean. There's a lot of lives that we can save if we tell the people everything about alcohol.
Yeah, well, actually, two things that I would like you to talk about here, and these are things I already heard in your conference, but which I think would be important to point out. And the first one is that, like, why when someone is drunk, why when the driver is drunk, why does that person, why do drunk drivers many times not dying in car accidents, and the people in the car actually die.
Yeah, well, that happens most of the times because a person that is very drunk doesn't have enough. Well, I forget about the word even in Spanish. Espérame. Reflex, reflex.
Mhm.
I don't know if it reflections or the reflex.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
don't know. Okay, they don't have enough reflex. So if that person is gonna crash, and and this brain realizes that it's gonna be bad, the very last uh, reflex that he has, he's gonna use it to save himself.
Mhm.
He doesn't have time or doesn't have the brain to think about, oh, I'm gonna put the brake and the handbrake, and then I'm gonna steer I'm gonna save everybody in the car. No,
Yeah.
they go like this. They turn the wheel, and they kill everybody else. They only have time to save themselves. That's the only thing that's remained or that's left in their brain. No, and it's very sad because that happens a
Mhm.
lot of times.
Yeah, well, and I actually want to get into how to deal with drunk people and how to deal with people who are getting drunk. But before going into that, the other thing that I wanted to point out is that you, again, in the conference, you shared the story of a girl, of a woman who was, I think it was like 3 a.m. or something, and she wasn't from here, from Mexico, but she like approached you, and then she went back. I think she was going to her hotel or something, and a truck or a car, yeah, it went over her. Could you share that story and also some
Yeah,
reflection you had from that?
yeah. I tell the people that everybody, we all have this idea, very romantic, that the party is gonna be great, no? But if we don't control the way we drink, we can go and pass to the other side of the party, which I call the dark side of the party.
Hmm.
And in the dark side of the party is where all your nightmares live. Everything that you think it's never going to happen to you, everything lives there, and it's pretty much alive. No, it happens. And that day, it was 7 in the morning. It was very late. People
Yeah.
say, "How it's going to be late 7 in the morning?" I say, "Yeah, because we started the party at 9 p.m. the night before,
Mhm.
so we were almost 12 hours, no
Yeah.
having." But it was 7 in the morning. I was saying goodbye to some friends out there. We were outside the nightclub, and there was this girl. She was from the United States. She was very young. She was like 19, and she was walking on the Costera, which is one of the main streets in Acapulco. And she stopped in front of the nightclub, and I thought she wanted to come in
Hmm.
because she was all alone. And I thought, well, maybe her friends are inside. So I told to the doorman, "Hey, open the chain and let her in."
Hmm.
And she was just staring at me. She was very drunk. She was even walking, like this. And she saw me, and she say no with her hand, and pointed at auto that is crossing the Costera, the main street,
Hmm.
the main avenue. Actually, it's not just a street; it's an
It's
avenue.
an avenue. Hmm.
So I say, okay, she's not coming here. So the doorman closes the chain. She turns around and starts to walk to cross the avenue, and then she stopped at the end of the sidewalk, and a bus here in Acapulco stopped to let her pass. I
Hmm.
remember
Hmm.
the driver telling the girl, go ahead." No,
Yeah.
she realizes that these guys stopped for her, and she turned around, say goodbye to me, and then she run because she knew that this guy was waiting for her to cross.
Hmm.
She didn't see, but in the other side of the bus, it was a taxi was traveling very fast, and when she crosses, the taxi just hit her and kill her instantaneously in front of me. I saw her body fly, and I saw her body land on the avenue. I jumped the chain. I ran there. I was on my knees. I remember her face was almost touching my knees, and I couldn't even touch her. She was dead, and there was nothing I could do for that girl. Nothing. And then I start to think like a dad because I had three little
Mm-hmm.
girls by that time, and I'm thinking that I'm living the tragedy of many people because this girl now is dead. She's not among us anymore. But now we have to tell some mom in the United States that her daughter is dead. You know,
Yeah.
this is the call that you never want to hear. Okay, we have to tell some friends in school, some brothers and sisters, some cousins, some aunts. There's a lot of people that's going to be hurt for what I just live, what I just see.
Yeah.
This girl, I mean, it haunted me for months. Every time I close my eyes when I go to sleep, I close my eyes. I remember her saying goodbye to me because I was the last person she saw. Then she said goodbye and then she died. So
Yeah.
my face was the last thing she saw. And I felt really bad because a life extinguished in front of me in a matter of a second, in a split second, she died. And she was only 19. And I don't think it's fair because she was having a good time. She was in
Mhm.
Acapulco. She came from Palladium. I know she was drunk, but I mean, a lot of people is drunk all the time. You don't have to die for being drunk. So
Yeah.
that's my message. Like me, for example, a lot of people think that I don't drink. I do. I drink, and if I want to get drunk, sometimes I do. You know, but I do it in a controlled ambience. I don't drive. I know what I'm doing, and I'm very conscious of what I'm doing. So I tell the people, make the choices that helps you to have a good time, and don't die. It's very strong to see somebody die.
Yeah, it must be. And I think that I have actually seen some of your videos on TikTok where you like share how you prepare some drinks or yeah, drinks. And well, I actually want
I
to
prepare
get
them and I drink them.
yeah, that's a good point. You prepare them and then drink them. Um, so I want to get like into the part of me not being wrong. Sorry, me not being drunk or a person not being drunk and that person like seeing that other people are getting drunk. Maybe they are not drunk still, but they are in the process. How can someone help other people like avoid this yeah, these experiences, whether they are whether they lead to the hospital or even to death? How can someone help people in danger?
Well, like when somebody's very drunk, let's say you're going back to the house and somebody's very drunk, how do you help them? Or how do you help people not getting too drunk in a nightclub?
I would say both. Hmm.
Okay, well, let's start with, like, let's say you're in a nightclub or in a party with your friends. You're not drunk, but you can see that your friends are drinking heavily.
Hmm.
One of the things you can do is, well, first of all, if you drink, you have to eat before. Okay, so that's gonna make the alcohol goes to your bloodstream slowly. Okay, if you don't have anything in your stomach and you drink, the alcohol is gonna go to your bloodstream really fast, and you're gonna have headache. You're gonna be dizziness, and so you have to eat.
Hmm.
It's very good to drink water between each drink of alcohol. Okay, because that dilutes the amount of alcohol that you have in your blood.
Hmm.
So what I would say is that if there is food in the party, try to give them food to all your friends. Try them to make them drink slow. Okay, no, another shot. No, wait, not another shot. Let's have a shot of water. No, hey, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like you. Yeah, I know you're gonna love me later. No? But now, no, don't not another shot. Let's have some water, or let's have to eat something to eat. No, the thing here is try to make them slow down
Hmm.
on the amount of alcohol they're drinking. If you can drink like one and a half drinks per hour, and you drink water, you're gonna be okay all night. Okay, you can drink a lot that way and
Hmm.
not do anything stupid. So that's the first thing. Now, let's say that after the party, you go to your house with your cousin, and your cousin is really, really wasted. Uh, this thing that I'm going to tell you, some people agree, some people don't agree, but I'm going to give you my point of view. Okay, what I tell the people is help your friends to vomit, no, to puke,
Hmm. Yeah, to throw up.
because
Uh-huh.
what happens there is that the alcohol they have in their stomach, you can get it out of their body. Okay, So that way, you're helping a lot the liver not to metabolize the alcohol because it's going to be very, very, um, uh, he's going to have a lot of work metabolizing all the ethanol this person already has in the bloodstream. So if you make them puke or vomit, you're going to help them a lot and they're going to start to feel better. Now, a lot of people, doctors and people say it is not good because when you're drunk, you have all your reflexes different, or you're like
Hmm.
kind of asleep and you're very slow. And they say you can aspirate, you can not swallow, but you can smell, not smell. How do you say? Aspirate your vomit.
Yeah,
I don't know
the,
if that's a
the vomit
word.
goes back and into the lungs, right?
Right. Yeah. So they say that that's a danger that they have. But the way I see is that if you're very, very drunk and you go to your bed, there's a very big chance you also gonna puke in your bed.
Hmm.
And if you do it when you're sleeping like with your head up, then you can aspire or you can get that vomit into your lungs and then you die. So I think it's a very good idea to help them as long as they're awake. They can talk and they
Hmm.
can move, they can walk. Because there's an when the people is really really drunk, that you have to carry them. They're sleeping. That's very dangerous because they might be going into alcohol poisoning.
Hmm. Could you get
So
deeper into this part of alcohol poisoning?
the alcohol poisoning is when people have so much alcohol in their blood that the communication between neurons it's starting to cease,
Hmm.
and especially to one part of the brain that takes care of heartbeat, respiration, and temperature.
Hmm.
In Spanish, that part is called bulbo raquídeo. I don't know that part in English, but the impulse from one neuron to another one it starts to cease. It cannot go through,
Hmm.
and what happens is that you just disconnect. The brain is not able to tell the lungs to keep breathing, is not able to send the information to the heart of keeping beating.
Hmm.
So you just die. You start to sleep, and then you just disconnect, and that's alcohol poisoning. That's why I tell the people, if you had a friend that is very very drunk and you try to wake them up and they don't wake up, you have to call 911 because
Hmm.
that person, that body is disconnecting. That's what it's telling you by not waking up. You know?
Hmm. And I think that again in your conference you talked about how like mixing drinks and well mixing drugs with drinks leads to how was it called drinking poisoning.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, there's not there's no good thing about mixing drugs, and I'm not talking about illegal drugs. I'm talking about
Hmm.
any kind of drug like medicines, because in United States they call drugs the medicines. No,
Hmm.
here in Mexico we call them medicine.
Hmm.
But all in all, it's a drug. Any particle that goes to your nervous system, to central nervous system, it's called a drug. So whenever you mix drugs, you don't know what's going to happen inside when they mix. So that's for example what happened with the roofies that we saw in the movie The
Hmm.
Hangover. Okay,
Yeah.
roofie, it's a medicine that they mix with alcohol and makes you forget about everything that you do in a certain period of time. Like mixing alcohol with cocaine makes your body to generate cocaethylene, which doesn't exist in your body, but it became there because of the combination of these drugs, and it hurts your brain. It hurts everything. You have 10 more times. Your heart starts to go 10 times faster than normal.
Hmm.
You can have a heart attack. It's very dangerous. So mixing drugs at any level, it's never a good idea.
Yeah, actually, again, many people die just when people are like consuming drugs, but drugs as in medications, and they like take much of it. Many times they die because of the amount they consume. And well, these are like risks that exist because of like physiological risks that exist because of drinking and drugs, but there are also many risks, as in your own safety as a person, and in there are many people who maybe would try to take advantage of you. How do you deal with how should someone deal with these people who maybe either try to get someone drunk or use people who are already drunk?
Okay, let me start by saying that a lot of times the behavior of the people changes because there's too much alcohol in the brain and there's too much dopamine.
Mm,
Dopamine starts to mess with a part of the brain that's called pre, prefrontal cortex. Okay,
mm,
this part of the front. This part of the brain has to do with to measure the danger, to make plans and to make decisions. Okay,
mm,
so I don't know if you've heard people that say, "Oh, I'm gonna drink because I have to get courage to do that." No, I have to
mm.
get a shot because I have to have the courage to go and approach that girl or do
Yeah.
something. No?
Uh-huh.
Well, it is not that alcohol makes you more courageous. Okay, it just makes you more stupid because now you cannot measure the danger the way you do it before you start to drink. So it's not that you're more, more brave. It's that you don't measure the danger, and then now you do some things that you thought they were dangerous before, and now you think, oh, let's go. Let's tell
Mhm.
my boss everything I think of him on New Year's party in the company. No, and then you lose your job. Or maybe you think it's a good idea, tell the secretary that you've been in love with her forever, even though you're married. I mean, like, people start to do a lot of stupid and crazy things because of that, because of the frontal cortex. So, it, the first part of the question could be that why do people start to behave like that? Maybe
Mhm.
that's the reason. And the second part I didn't understand very well is like, how do you deal with people that is very drunk?
How do you deal? So let's say that that me that I am in a situation where a friend is drunk and there is also another person who maybe is drunk or maybe it isn't, but that person is trying to take advantage of my friend because my friend is drunk and maybe I don't know, take him to even kidnapping or bad stuff, do bad stuff with him.
Mhm.
How, as a friend, how as someone not drunk, how to help these people that are already drunk and that because they cannot like respond properly to the danger, um, are in more risk. How can we help those situations?
Well, the first thing is that there's a lot of people drugging other people. Okay,
Hmm.
it's very common that people put drugs on your drinks and to rape you, to rob you, to kidnap you, to do bad stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, Normally, what that people is waiting for is for you to be alone. When you are without your friends, there's the moment where they're waiting to attack. So what I say to the people right now is that every time you go out to a party with a group of friends, you have to stay together. You have to take care of one another. Don't let any somebody of the group just leave the place because you if you don't know where that person is, you have to find and look for her.
Hmm.
Why? Because the only person that's going to help you if somebody else wants to do you harm, it's your friends.
Hmm.
No, how do you do it? Well, you just you kick somebody else's ass. Don't It doesn't matter. You call security. You do whatever it takes to help your friend.
Yeah.
But as long as you're near, you're gonna be able to help your friend. The problem is gonna be that if you're not near your friend and somebody wants to do harm to them, then they're gonna do it because you're not around. So the most important thing right now is to be around your friends, to make sure where they are, that they're having a good time, that they're inside the place, they're not going out, they're not leaving the place with anyone else. So that way you make sure you're going to take them home or they're going to go home with you.
Hmm.
But you have to be very, very you have to be very conscious and make sure you know where your friends are most of the time. You know?
Yeah, to keep them safe and to keep the group safe. It is
That's right.
interesting. Yeah. Um. Well, so this have been some risks that come with drinking, but then there's also another thing that comes with drinking, which is the day after drinking and the resaca.
The
Uh,
hangover. Oh, yeah.
yeah, the hangover. Exactly. How to deal with that? How what are some tips and some tactics to like get through it in the best way possible?
Well, okay. When you drink, 90% of the alcohol goes to your body get rid of the alcohol 90% through the liver, which
Hmm.
metabolizes it and converts it into something else. The 10% remaining, you get rid of it, you eliminate it from your body by sweating, urinating, going to the bathroom, and through your lungs. So any person that has alcohol in their bloodstream, whenever they blow, they're gonna smell like alcohol. It's not,
Hmm.
and not. It doesn't have to do with your stomach. It has to do with your lungs, because a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm gonna have I don't know, if I chew a bubble gum that smells very much like very
Yeah.
strong mint." Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean,
They
whenever
will
it
not
comes out of
know
your
that I drank. Uh
yeah, and especially you have a drunk face. No, it doesn't matter if
huh.
you smell or not. You look like a drunk person. Um, so 90% goes like that, and the other 10% goes like I told you. But I forget the question because I was so
Yeah. How to
sorry.
deal with the hangover?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking about all these measurements. Okay,
Yeah.
so once you know that, every time you go to the bathroom the night before, you're not taking out alcohol. You're not getting rid of the alcohol. You're getting rid of vitamins, glucose, and a lot of things that your body needs. And that's one of the reasons why next day you're so tired.
Hmm.
You're so tired because you're dehydrated,
Dehydrated. Uh
deshidratado,
huh.
dehydrated. You're dehydrated. Um, Also, you lose a lot of vitamins. So you feel like a fish, like a fish standing out on the beach. And also, when you're very drunk, the REM uh, phase of the sleep, you're not able to go to that phase, so you don't
Hmm.
rest. So that's the reason why people, when they wake up, they're so tired, even though they could sleep like 8 or 9 hours. You wake up and you feel like you run a marathon, okay? Because you can't rest. And another thing is that alcohol is very bad to your stomach. And I tell the people, you want to see how irritated it could be? Okay, you can do this someday. You take a sip of tequila and put the tequila on underneath your tongue and
Hmm.
try to leave it there for 25 seconds. It's going to start to burn really bad. You're going to start to, make a lot of saliva
Uh
to
huh.
dilute this, no? And then you're not going to be able to have it there, and you're going to swallow it. Well, that's what you felt underneath your tongue. That's what it does to the rest of your digestive
System.
system. So if you drink, 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 drink all night, next day you're going to have your stomach and everything like burning.
Mhm.
So one of the things I tell to the people in Hangover is don't eat anything spicy. This goes to people from Latin America, because in the United States they don't like spicy things, and especially when they're hangover, they don't eat that. But in
Yeah.
Mexico, we have the idea that if you eat something very spicy, you're gonna feel better faster, which is a very stupid thing to do because it doesn't help at any level. What you have to do is try to drink something like a pedialite here, like a drink
Hmm.
with minerals and electrolytes and
And
stuff.
actually, some.
Try to eat meat. Try to eat something with sugar, and go to sleep again. So now you're going to be able to rest. Okay, but you have to be patient. There's nothing that's going to make you feel better right away. A lot of people say, "Oh, but if I have another tequila or another beer, I'm going to feel better right away." I say, "Well, because you're starting the cycle again. You're starting to put, and again, alcohol in your system. It goes to your brain. Now you liberate dopamine, and you're gonna feel better because of the dopamine. But it's not. You're not helping your body. No.
Hmm. You know, with what you just said, a thought came to mind. Is there like any suggested timing to drink? Like some moment in the day when your body is in a specific state and in which your body could maybe like digest that or well metabolize that alcohol better? Is there like any advice you have there?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I think that you can drink any time of the day. Uh, the earliest you start to drink is going to be the weirdest, no? Because normally people start to drink around, maybe at 2, 3 in the afternoon. You're going to a meet to eat with some friends. Maybe you have wine or something,
Mhm.
and at night especially. People that drinks in the morning, it's not very normal or not very common. I don't want to say normal or not, because you can have
Yeah.
mimosas for breakfast. No, that's, people often drink mimosas for breakfast. But I think that the only thing you have to make sure is eat before you drink, drink a lot of water, and try to do it slow. If you do it like that, it doesn't matter what time you start to drink. No?
Boom. That's the advice. And you mentioned that sometimes you do get drunk, but in like the context where you can actually get drunk and not cause harm to others and do not harm yourself. Could you get deeper into how you do this and how can people who want to get drunk do that in an intelligent way?
Well, for example, now with my TikTok account,
Hmm.
uh, I became very famous.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I go to
Over.
a nightclub and 50% of the people in the nightclub knows me, and 50% of the people want to have a shot with me. Like, hey, Rudy, let's have a shot. I'm like, no, let me
Uh-huh.
live. So what I do those days is that if I know I'm going to go to a nightclub and there's going to be a lot of people that knows me, what I try to do is, first of all, I don't bring a car. Second, I eat very good before I start. I
Hmm.
always have a bottle of water in my hand, and I try not to overreact. Like people is pressuring me, and they're making me have like, I don't know, maybe 3 shots in 1 hour. I go like, okay, I'm gonna have this last one, but then you gotta wait for
That's it.
me for another
Hmm.
time. And I wait for 1 hour. I drink water and stuff, and then an hour and a half later, somebody else come here, and instead of a shot, I say, oh no, let's have a long drink, and I have a Cuba, for example. No,
Hmm.
so I try to, and yeah, sometimes I get drunk. I'm very happy. I make a lot of friends, but I'm never alone. I'm always with my wife or with friends. I'm never alone. And for me, if I start to talk and I can't pronounce the R, like your tongue doesn't respond well,
Hmm.
then I stop. I stop for good, and I start to drink water, because at that level you still have some awareness of what's going on in your brain.
Hmm.
But if you
Hmm.
keep drinking, once you cannot feel your tongue, if you keep drinking, then is when you go to the other side. No, when you start to do stupid things, you forget what happened that night. No, and then maybe instead of 4 in the morning that you stop drinking, you just forget, and there's like 7 in the morning, and you keep drinking. You keep track of how much you've been drinking, and it starts to become dangerous.
Hmm.
And once I reach that point, I just go like, okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
And
follow me on TikTok. Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah, I stay. Oh, especially I have to be very careful because they can take a picture of me or something, and it's not nice, no.
Yeah.
But other than that, I always have to take care of myself and not harm myself or anybody else by my with my party.
Hmm. You know, another interesting thing which you pointed out was that like you sometimes prefer to drink something different which is drank slower and sometimes you drink stuff which you just take in a shot. So are there like what you talked about, like the 17 millimeters of alcohol? Does that apply to all drinks? To all drinks, to vodka and beer and wine, and all those have the same amount of alcohol per each like cup or yeah, like
Mhm.
glass. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it has to do with the amount of alcohol you're serving. One beer, one shot glass of tequila, and a glass of wine, they all have the same amount of alcohol. Okay, even though the tequila has 38% alcohol, the beer has 5%, and the wine has like 12%. The thing is that a shot glass is only 1 ounce and a half. Okay,
Mhm.
beer is 355 millimeters. That I don't remember how many ounces are. I think it's 15, something like that. And the glass wine is 5 ounces. So more or less, the three of them have the same amount of alcohol. So if I'm gonna be drinking in a nightclub with my friends, I'm gonna count the same one beer or one shot. Okay, I'm
Mhm.
gonna say I have one beer, one shot, one glass of wine, and one Cuba. Okay, that's four. That's four drinks. Because a lot of people they don't count the beer. They go like, no, that's beer.
Mhm.
That beer doesn't count. Well, it counts. It counts like if you had a whiskey or a vodka
Yeah.
or a tequila, it do count. So yes, 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 they all have the same.
Okay, they all have the same. And again, in your conference, you talked about Four Loco. What about that?
Well, Ford Loco, it's a very dangerous drink because it has too much alcohol and people don't know. In Mexico, the can has 473 millimeters and it has 12% alcohol, which is 57 millimeters of alcohol. So if a shot of tequila has 17 millimeters and a Ford Loco had 57, well, Ford Loco has like 3.5 shots of
Hmm.
tequila, no, for example. But in the United States, it's even worse. In the United States, the can is bigger. I think it's like 650 something. And sometimes it has up to 14% alcohol.
Hmm.
So 14, that'll be like around
90, yeah.
90 millimeters, I think. And that's what a whole bottle of wine has, 90 millimeters of pure alcohol. So if you drink a can of Four Loko in the United States, oh, you're getting like 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 almost 6 shots. That's a lot.
Hmm.
That's a
Yes.
lot
Hmm. As you
to
said,
drink 6 shots in less than an hour, for example. It's a lot. You're gonna get wasted. Like people tell me, or people ask me, "Hey, how much I have to drink to forget things?" No, to when I start to forget things that I do during the night, and I say it's not how much you drink, it's how fast you
how
drink it.
fast? Hmm.
Because you can, like, let's say this for loco in the United States. If I drink this for loco in 4 hours, it's gonna be okay. Okay, 4 or 5 hours, it's gonna be okay, which is never gonna happen, all right?
Yeah.
But if it does happen, people is gonna be okay. But if I drink that same four loco in just 1 hour, there's going to be so much alcohol in my bloodstream that my brain is not going to be able to connect the hippocampus, which is where you store all the memories. So
Hmm.
it's not how much, but how fast you drink it.
How fast? Yeah. And again, here, I think it applies the same with the Four Loco, right? Like drinking water, having, yeah, eating before, and all those things.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
You have to make sure the amount of alcohol you're getting into your body per hour. That's what's going to determine your the level of drunkenness that you're going to
of
have.
drunkenness. Yeah, well, you having been a manager of a nightclub, I think that you have been in contact also with the world of drugs, and I would like to ask you some stuff about those subjects. And the first one is like vapes. What do you think about vapes? What are like the risks there? What have you seen that people should avoid doing?
Let me tell you something. I don't know very much about other drugs because my specialty is alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
I do know a little bit about cocaine because people normally mix it with alcohol in order to get sober again. That's what they think. They're not sober. They're a drug drunks, no, which is even worse. About vapes, I don't know a lot. Also, I have to investigate because a lot of people ask me about vaping. I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that it's like two sides of the story. There's people that say that there's no problem. There's people that say that it's very dangerous, and I don't think there's people in the middle. I think either or you're on one side or on another side of vaping. So it's very interesting, and I would really like to go to investigate more with specialists on each area to really know. But I know that it's very common right now among young people, and it's growing. It's growing a lot.
Yeah, it is actually. That was one of the things which I wanted to ask you, because many of my, like, not friends from my school specifically, but friends I had from other schools have been like increasing a lot, and like how they smoke vapes and those things. And I have heard and read some things about how vape creates the, like, problems in your lungs, just as normal cigarettes and those things. But yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because I think it's related to the world of partying somehow. But
Mhm.
you say that you know about cocaine. Could you talk about that? What are some tips? What to avoid? If people should do it if they want, or if they shouldn't do it at all?
Well, the thing about cocaine is that maybe okay, let me get you this situation. No, you're drunk. You're very worried because you're gonna get home. You're gonna get caught. You're gonna get into trouble, and then some stupid guy with cocaine approach you and say, "Hey, man, you wanna get sober very fast so you don't get in trouble in your house. You just sniff this, and you're gonna be great in 5 minutes. Nobody's gonna notice that you were drunk." So you're so scared that you think it's a good idea, and that you're gonna be able to to fool your parents, and you're gonna get skip the problems, all right? Well, what happens with cocaine is that okay, this is a little specific. Let me see if I can find the words. No, okay.
Hmm.
From one neuron to another one, when you drink alcohol, for example, when ethanol goes to one of the neurons, it releases dopamine and goes to the all this information that dopamine has, goes to the other neuron and tells the other neuron, "Hey, be happy, dance, smile, have a good time." That's the information. Okay. Once that information gets here, the dopamine gets out of the neuron and go back to the original neuron. Okay, through some channels, some tubes they have.
Hmm.
Okay, so you recycle all the time. We are recycling dopamine. What happened with cocaine is that cocaine arrives and makes the neuron here release a lot of dopamine. Let's say 10 times more.
Hmm.
So the neurons underneath are very, very, very happy. But the problem with cocaine is that when all of this dopamine wants to go back to the original neuron, cocaine blocks all the tubes that cut all this dopamine. So what happened with this dopamine is it stays there, floating between one neuron and another one. And then you get more cocaine, and this neuron starts to get more dopamine, and all of this dopamine is not being able to reabsorb from the original neuron. So can you imagine how your brain starts to get full and full and full and full and full of cocaine, of dopamine?
Yeah.
So all your one of the things that starts to happen is that you start to be hyper alert. So that's the reason why you start people can see one image again, because drunk people see two images, because
Hmm.
their eyes are like one side and the other.
Yeah.
You can talk again. You start to get more conscious, okay, because of the dopamine that is in your brain because of the cocaine. But that doesn't mean you're sober. In order for you to be sober, you have to get rid of the alcohol you have in your bloodstream. And cocaine do not do that. All
Hmm.
the alcohol you have in your bloodstream is still there, and it's still attacking your neurons. But now you're doped. I mean that's why I say in Spanish I say eres un borracho drogado. Right?
Uh-huh.
You're drunk and now you're drugged. Now you have two things in one. But people think they're okay. They're not even drugged or drunk. I say it's totally the opposite. You're just
Yeah.
fooling your brain. You're fooling yourself, and you're harming yourself. So the only way you're gonna get sober once you're drunk is by letting your own body get rid of the alcohol. And I'm always I insist very much on this matter because there's nothing miraculous that is going to get you sober again.
Hmm.
There's no pills, no anything that's going to get you sober again. You have to wait for your own liver to get rid of the alcohol, and it's going to be one drink per hour. That's more or less going to be the speed. So
Hmm. And what about the hangover after alcohol and cocaine? Does it get
oh,
worse?
I don't know. I mean, I've never had drugs in my life, even though I worked for 22 years in nightclub. Yeah, I had my little girls. I didn't want to be a dad involved in those kind of stuff. I
Hmm.
like my job, so I say if I want to work in this for a long time, I have to behave. So not no drugs at all, no drugs at all, and I don't know the hangover with that, but first of all, not only you feel bad with your physically, but emotionally. When people has a hangover, normally they're depressed. They feel very bad. They have a moral hangover that we call in Mexico, cruda moral, no, a moral hangover, and
Hmm.
uh, I can't imagine how you feel when you wake up next day if you did that stuff. No, it's so bad.
Yeah, it should definitely be tough. And well, really, um, so I think we have covered all, or well, most of the important things around like how to drink properly, how to avoid physical risks and social risks, about cocaine, about how to deal with a hangover. And one of the last things I want to talk about is like young people like myself. We are my generation starting to become the generation that is the one that goes to parties and to nightclubs and all of those things. Uh, what advice or do you have in general, like to take care of ourselves as, let's call ourselves newbies to this, to this yeah, to this world? What do you, what would you say there, or what do you say to young people?
Well, look. First of all, you have everything, all the future ahead of you. There's a lot of things you're gonna leave. You're gonna go to a lot of parties. But when you start to go to parties, sometimes you want to do it very fast. No, it's like like somebody give you your favorite pie, and they say, okay, but just one spoon now, and then one spoon later. You go like, no way, I'm gonna have the whole slice. I
Hmm.
want it all. You want to live fast. You want to live fast because so actually your generation is a generation that likes to live fast. If you want to see a movie, you just ask Siri to play
Hmm.
that movie, and you're gonna see it like this, no, and your phone. So your generation likes to live fast. My advice would be take it easy. Take it easy. There's gonna be time for everything. Slow down a little bit. Don't try to get drunk so fast because now most of the guys want to drink from the bottle and they count. Well, hey, I can drink all the way up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm like, that's no, you're not going to get anything good about that. You're going to forget the party. You're going to do stupid things. People is going to film you and you're going to be on social network next day. So try to slow down, enjoy the moment. The amount of dopamine that you have in your brain when you drink 1.5 drinks is very nice. It's
Hmm.
relaxing, makes you happy, it makes you more talkative, and
Yeah, more
but
conversational,
yeah,
social.
but
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's good. I mean, there is a way, there is a measure to drink. When people say drink responsibly, I'm like, yeah, well, that's such a very nice phrase, but if you don't know anything about alcohol, how can you be responsible with about something you don't know shit?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
so slow down and try to make good decisions and enjoy it. Enjoy it. I mean, and try to wait as much as you can to start drinking alcohol because it has to do with your brain. Young people that start to drink between 12 and 18 years old has 40% more chances to get hooked to alcohol for the rest of their life because you change your brain chemistry. If you start to drink when you're 18, those possibilities go down to 16%. And if you start to drink at the age of 21, like United States, suppose, it drops to 10%. So because it has to do the age of drinking in United States, it has to do with your brain because it's more developed, and it's more difficult for you to get hooked in drugs or in alcohol. So
Yeah,
wait,
I think that I once heard that like if you start drinking from a young age, again, yeah, the chemistry in your brain changes, and like in the future when you're 70 years old or so, you can even develop Alzheimer's and many mental disorders. Is that true?
um, I think I think that alcohol do some things in your brain when you're young, but then if the rest of your life you consume alcohol responsibly and not in big amounts, you can do it all your life without having trouble. Okay, like
Hmm.
my grandmother, she used to drink 1 or 2 glasses of whiskey every week,
Hmm.
and she kept doing it until she was 85 or so, and she was okay. She didn't have Alzheimer or anything. You never saw my grandmother. My grandmother never saw her drunk, but she drank. She drank all her life. So um, if you do responsibly, I don't think you have any trouble in your brain. But if you start to drink when you're very young, you don't develop, for example, your hippocampus. It's 10% smaller than the rest. Maybe your prefrontal cortex doesn't develop the same as someone that didn't drink until he was 21. So there's some things that you might get in your brain if you drink very very young. But once you're 21, you can, if you start to drink very responsibly, you can enjoy it for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and well, one thing I want to mention is that I was telling you about my grandpa before I hit record, and he is 80 years old now, almost 81, and he has been like he in the weekends or when I go to his home or whatever, he drinks a beer or I don't know, whiskey or whatever, but I have not ever seen him drunk, and I do think that he does it very well, yeah, with much responsibility, and that's a great example.
Great, that's good. You see, it's possible.
It is.
You can enjoy everything in this life as long as we don't exaggerate.
Hmm. Yeah, true. And well, just three more things before wrapping up. And the first one is like my this is going into another subject, but my podcast is called The Transformation Journey. And because of that, my last question usually is like, how do you define and approach transformation? And directed to you, I would like you to, yeah, respond it like, how do you approach it in your personal life and in like, yeah, mostly in your personal life, but also how are you helping to transform like this the knowledge that there is around alcohol and the world of partying.
Well, for me, transformation in my life has to do with learning what people is teaching you.
Hmm.
Like this pandemic changes a lot, change a lot of things for all of us. We all have to transform our lives, the way we think, and we're always changing. The only constant in the universe is change. That's the only constant. The change. We're transforming all the time. We're not the same person now that I was when I was 19 or
Hmm.
when I was 25 or 45. I change all the time. So, in order for me to get the most of every transformation is to learn what life is showing me and use it for my future. No, all the
Hmm.
things that I've done wrong, now I know it. No, not, it's not. Don't do them again. All right, and that's for me in my personal life. I'm transforming all the time, and I try to learn what life or my own acts have lead me to find out. No,
Hmm.
and on the other side, on the other hand, how do I transform all the lives of the people? Is I want them to know that it's okay to party. Okay, I want them to know that alcohol is not the devil. All right, I don't. Okay, let me just be very clear about something. I don't know. Tell the people go and drink. Okay, as I don't tell the people don't drink. All I want to know, I'm happy is that people knows that alcohol is not an enemy. Alcohol is not the devil. Alcohol is going to be in your life, and it could be your friend if you treat alcohol okay, and you understand what that molecule do to your body. That it's okay to go out, have a party, have a drink. Don't feel bad, all right? But the most important thing is learn about it. Learn
Learn
about
about
what
it.
you're doing so you can actually enjoy the fullest of that experience every single time in your life. That's the way I want to transform it, no? To make this a more a world with more awareness of what they're doing.
Yeah, that's a great and inspiring mission. And well, the other two things are really just wrap up things, and they are like, do you want to add anything else? And where can people find you?
Excuse me,
Where
the first thing.
where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me. You can send me an Instagram message at my Instagram. It's at Rudy Tercero F, Rudy Tercero F, which is the same as my TikTok, but it's easier if you send me a message by Instagram because in TikTok I have like over 600,000 followers, and there's a lot of people sending me messages there, and it's a world. I
Yeah.
can't see them all, but in Instagram it's less, so I can see them over there. And yeah, my Instagram you can
Yeah,
find
yeah.
me there.
Actually, that was how we connected. And well, really, if there is not anything else that you would like to add, I think that has been it for this podcast. I really thank you for coming on, and I think the people, or at least I, did find this conversation really valuable. And I mean, right now I'm not like going to parties or anything really because of the pandemic and all of that. But when things start to get more normal, or when partying comes back properly, at least for me, I think that I will actually apply what you're telling. I mean, for the next 2 years, I will try not to drink, for my brain to develop properly. But if I do, I will do it with intelligence, responsibility. And I really thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much. And as I say in every interview that I have in TV, in radio, I always say to people, don't make one party day to become the worst day of your life. Okay, because a party day doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. A lot of people go out on a party and that day they crash, they do something stupid. They I don't know, they ended up pregnant or with a disease. No, and sometimes they remember that day like the worst day of their lives. No, it doesn't have to be like that. Okay,
Hmm.
for me, I want you to have your expectations of a great day to become real. And thank you very much for having me here. I'm happy. I hope I answered all your questions. I hope my English was good enough,
It was good,
enough
yeah.
clear, and thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me here.